Nothing gets me more hyped than trading down. What's up? Good morning. Welcome to Mad Sports. That's Mad Sports. I'm Grant Cohn. Season's over. Draft season's upon us. We're going to be talking about what the Niners should do at 11. A lot of people thinking about best player available. Is it a defensive tackle? Could be. Or should the Niners move up or down the draft board, get creative? We'll talk about that. First, I want to linger on the Super Bowl just for like one more day because it was so shocking. No one saw it going down the way it did.
No.
So I thought what was most interesting about it was the way Vic Fangio absolutely gutted Andy Reid and that entire Chiefs offense.
I didn't think like that defense. Like, the first thing. Where did they get Zach Bond from? A practice squad?
I think he was an edge player for the Saints or something, and then Fangio decided no, he's actually going to be an all-pro off-ball linebacker.
Where this guy Fangio is a genius because I don't know where they found that guy. They literally picked him off of the street. But did you think Fangio's defense was going to be this good against the Chiefs? I didn't think so. I didn't think it was going to be this good. And
no, I didn't. I think what's so interesting about how he did it. So first of all, shout out Ted Wynn. He's writes for The Athletic, does a great job. I don't know anyone who does a better job like actually breaking down X's and O's, the chess match of a game in a way that the average layman like me can understand. So shout out to Ted. It's on the Athletic website right now. Basically, what Ted points out is like Fangio broke a tendency. All of a sudden, instead of trying to bring pressure or he just went to quarters coverage, which is 4 deep split safeties. And the way to beat that, it's very vulnerable deep down the middle of the field because the corners on the outside can be isolated easily on posts and stuff like that. But the Chiefs don't have a deep passing game anymore. It's not what they've been doing for years. Well, also with split safeties, you can run on that because it's not an 8-man box. Yeah. But the Chiefs don't run the ball. No. And so like it was just a zone coverage that was told to just sit on all the short stuff. And it did.
What happened to the Chiefs running game though? Because like Isaiah Pacheco, you said he played good. I
liked him a couple years ago, but I don't know what happened to him this year.
A couple years no, he was fine last year against us. Of course, he was good against us, but this year you couldn't find him.
I think what happened, I'm not a Chiefs expert, but I think their running game is kind of like, it's not something that they're committed to. They don't run the ball that much. They throw a lot of screens, which is kind of like an extension of their running game. Mm-hmm. But their actual run plays, if you look at like what they are with the Niners, it's like a lot of Purdy under center, toss plays with a fullback. That's not really what the Chiefs do. It's a lot of RPOs from the shotgun, right? And so technically, that's like not necessarily a run. It's up to Mahomes. He could hand it off or he could pass it depending on whatever he decides. And a lot of times, if you have a Hall of Fame quarterback who thinks he's the GOAT and is trying to prove it, he's going to decide that it's a pass more often than not.
And I think this happening, I think Fangio kind of released like a blueprint for every NFL team on how to beat the Chiefs.
Yeah, no doubt.
To fix the trenches.
And now the Chiefs have to completely change, which is so interesting. Like Travis Kelce, 100%. You're done.
Grant, I told you before the live, there's literally a video of Kelce. All the offensive linemen are already moving, and Kelsey's just still standing there like this. It's like he's doing the mannequin challenge back in 2017. Like
it's bad.
He's got to retire. He's not even he had like 2 opportunities to easy catch and he would drop it. Like he's not good anymore.
He's got to retire. Xavier Worthy looks good. Rashee Rice was good, could be good when he comes back. But to me, what this team needs is a killer running back.
They do
because
they don't have one.
Otherwise, teams are just going to do this to you and take away the quick screens and the quick passes and dare you to run the ball.
Chiefs, Grant, knowing the Chiefs, what are the Chiefs going to do? They're going to draft a running back, and then he's going to be the best running back in the league. Because that's what happens with the Chiefs. That's going to happen. Like they're going to draft a running back, and he's going to be elite.
That's the thing. Like the Chiefs won't be in denial. They won't be like, "Oh, we should have won." They'll be like, "That was catastrophic. That can't ever happen again. We need to fundamentally change the structure of our offense because we've been figured out." And that's what I respect about them. I mean, they don't really necessarily have a scheme. They will have a new evolution that'll put them. And again, I don't know who their running back's going to be, but I bet you they draft one in round 1, round 2, or they sign one in free agency.
There's a lot of deep running backs in this draft class. Like there's plenty of running backs for them to Judkins, Scadaboo. Those two guys just come off my head right away. Those are two guys they can get, and they would strive in that Chiefs offense right away.
Just good for Vic Fangio, though. What an all-time great performance. Like, he's now a legend, and I don't know if he'll make the Hall of Fame, but
listen, I don't like how the Eagles won. I like how Vic Fangio won, though. I don't like how the Eagles won. I don't like the Eagles. I kind of wish both teams would have lost, but that's not possible. But I'm happy for Vic Fangio. That's the only person I could say I'm kind of happy for.
Because what's cool about it is when we look back on this Super Bowl in 10, 15, 20 years, we'll probably remember Jalen Hurts' performance because it was excellent. But it was the Vic Fangio Super Bowl. It was one of the most dominating defensive performances in a Super Bowl that we've ever seen. I mean, 0 points and about 30 yards late in the third quarter. I've never seen anything like that. Especially, it's the Chiefs.
You know how the Niners started off really good last year and Greenlaw got hurt? Do you think this same thing would have happened if Greenlaw would have stayed in the game? Because our defense was on fire.
True.
And Greenlaw went out and it went.
True.
Like, that's what I'm saying.
Now,
a lot of people.
That's a good question, man.
Yeah, a lot of people, they're like, oh, yeah, the Eagles defense is great. It's like every player matters. I remember when Greenlaw went down, and then I was talking to some of my friends, and they're like, oh, yeah, but you guys still have Fred Warner and all that. But in the Super Bowl,
okay, I have a rebuttal.
Matters.
I have a rebuttal.
Okay.
What I would like to say is that in every Super Bowl, except for the one against the Bucks, the Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes makes a big late fourth quarter push. He did it in this game. And I think
well, not
once
really.
the pass rush slows down a little bit, which it inevitably does in the fourth quarter, all of a sudden things open up and he shows that he's still great. So I think yes, but also the offense needed to like score those points and take advantage and put the game away in the third quarter when they did.
I honestly don't think that. I think that the Eagles kind of just gave up. Like the game was already so out of reach. Or no, because you said the Eagles.
Oh, that's why they gave up in garbage time. That's fair.
That's why. Yeah. Like the Eagles, that big toss. The only good throw was that toss to Worthy. When Mahomes threw that long bomb down the field to Worthy, that was a great play. But otherwise, I don't think the Eagles really cared. It's like 8 minutes left. Saquon Barkley smiling on the sideline. The game was already out of reach. It was already over before it was over.
Possible. I'm just saying, like in the Super Bowl when the Niners were there the first time, and they had a great D line with Buckner and Armstead and Ford and Bosa. They dominated that game. Now they didn't. It wasn't like 0 points, but it was like 10 in the fourth quarter, like late in the fourth, like midway through the fourth quarter. I think the Chiefs had
we got that interception, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, we're gonna win!" And
yes, but then your 4-man pass rush just gets tired a little bit, and then all of a sudden they score 21 points in 6 minutes, or they've done it before. So maybe Dre Greenlaw being out there, the Niners win, or maybe they still like. You don't want to be in a close game against the Chiefs, and that's one thing that the Eagles made sure it wasn't. We're blowing you out. There's no chance. You can't win a close game against the Chiefs.
If it's a close game against the Chiefs, Mahomes is gonna Mahomes, and you're gonna lose that game. It's the Super Bowl. If that
Taylor Swift will say something to someone, and that's gonna happen. Sorry, to make a call.
If everyone that I knew that bet, they bet the Chiefs comeback. I think everyone did. If that game was closer, I wouldn't have been surprised if Chiefs would have came back and won that freaking game. They're that Eagles did. When no other team did, blow them out, and then Chiefs couldn't come back. They had no chance.
I mean, even at 24-0 late in the second quarter,
it was over.
When Mahomes leaks out of the pocket to the right and throws to DeAndre Hopkins, if Hopkins catches that ball, you're thinking they're back in this game. I mean,
49ers should get DeAndre.
Yeah.
He looks really good. He looks really good.
Okay, I got another question from the Super Bowl. Looking at the Eagles, that defensive line was incredible. Milton Williams is going to be a free agent. The Niners need a defensive tackle to replace Javon Hargrave, who was the last Eagles defensive tackle they signed.
Yeah.
What do you think? Milton Williams is way younger. Really good player. Should the Niners sign him?
Well, I'm gonna be honest. I don't know much about Milton Williams. I know, in the Super Bowl, he was absolutely incredible. I do know that against the pass, he's very good. Against the rush, it's eh. Yeah. He had 6 sacks this year. Listen, Grant, I'm at the point right now. I want any defensive lineman. I feel like the Niners. I like Collins. I think he's a guy you can keep on this team. But who's the other guy that was beside Collins? He had the really long last name. I don't want to butcher his last name. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yatir Gross Matos,
Not Utigros Matos. It was the other
Jordan
guy.
Elliott.
No, it's Oguza. Oguza. What was his name?
Sam
guy.
O.
That guy. Like, I feel like, listen, I'll take anyone at this point. Milton was an absolute dog in the Super Bowl. I think anyone will be better than that Sam O dude. Ogu Gazu.
He was playing on the edge a little bit more, but here's the thing with Milton Williams.
Even
I
with
think you're
edge-
right about him being more of a pass rusher. Because when
Yeah.
you were watching the Super Bowl, like he'll play in the base defense if it's like
Because wasn't it Josh
base.
Sweat that was edge? No, Josh Sweat was in the middle. No,
Josh Sweat's on the edge, Nolan Smith's on the edge, and then like the three interior guys in there, 3-4 are you have Jordan Davis at nose tackle, you got Jalen Carter and Milton Williams at defensive ends in like a 3-4.
Oh, okay.
And then if it's nickel, which it mostly is in the NFL, then they usually take Milton Williams off the field and go with Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter if it's first down or if it's 2nd and 4. But on 3rd down or like 2-minute, then it's usually Milton Williams next to Jalen Carter. So that means that to me that Fangio thinks that Milton Williams is much better against the pass and the run.
But I think we could, don't we need a guy that can stop the run? I feel like
that's what I'm saying, man. I think in a Fangio defense with a 5-man front, you can have a 290-pound D tackle like Milton Williams. But if you put that 290-pound D tackle in a wide 9, I mean, you're not going to stop the run. You're
like
not.
Josh Sweat is way better against the run than he is Milton Williams. I think Josh Sweat. Also, this is a stupid thing. I love the guy's celebration. That's a great celebration. Last name Sweat, and you get that's a sick. Like right when he did that, even Jesse posted it. That might be the best sack celebration. I was like, you know what? I think that is. But we need a guy that's good against the run. And if we're talking Eagles, I think we get Josh Sweat because he's better against the run than Milton Williams.
I still wonder why they signed Javon Hargrave. That was such a strange signing because he didn't fit the wide 9.
No,
and I don't think that Saleh would have wanted him. And I don't think that that D'Amico would have wanted him, but they brought him in, and he never fit. It was so weird.
Grant, would you want Javon? Because I've heard some things. Would you want Javon? No, Javon Hargrave.
No, he doesn't fit the wide 9.
No, but
he needs to go back. Okay,
I was saying because you know how we're gonna like cut him or whatever. Mm-hmm. Would you want to sign him back on a cheaper deal? That's what people have been saying. And I'm saying no.
And I don't think Saleh will either. Here's what I'm trying to say. So Saleh drafted Kinlaw. Then Saleh brought Kinlaw to the Jets. It doesn't mean that Kinlaw is going to work out and be the player he was drafted to be. But there's a reason why Saleh wanted that skill set body type. He's 6'5", 320.
He's a big guy. I don't want Kinlaw, though. He's not good.
No, of course. But 6'5", 320, Armstead was 6'7", 300. Like, that's the kind of body types you need at defensive tackle to 100%. Not suck against the run in a wide
100%. If you want to stop the run, you need big guys. Eric Armstead, big guy. Like,
especially if your line is so spread out. If you have a 5-man 3-4, like a 5-man front 3-4, like the Eagles do with Fangio, you can have 6'3", 290. Like, that's what 10 years ago you were young. But do you remember the Harbaugh teams with Fangio on them?
Yep.
Okay, so their defensive line they had Justin Smith at defensive tackle. He's like 290 pounds. He couldn't have played D tackle in the wide 9. He was great in that defense.
He was a dog, yeah.
A dog.
Yeah.
Ray McDonald was a defensive tackle on that defense. He couldn't have played in the wide 9, but he was great in that defense. I don't know. They can't make the same mistake of like signing defensive tackles who don't fit their wide 9. And thankfully, I don't think Robert Saleh will make that mistake. That's a mistake that you make when you bring in Steve Wilkes and he doesn't even know the wide 9. And he's like,
no. Oh. I think Kinlaw is literally big for nothing. The guy's just big. What does Kinlaw really do?
Well, the fact that he has poor pad levels hurts him. Armstead is 6'7". Well, when he was young, 6'7" with good pad level. He was an incredible run defender and a big reason why the Niners were good.
Would you take Armstead back?
Yeah, no, he's not. No,
he had like 1 sack this year. Oh God, what happened? Armstead was like this, and then he fell off a cliff. It's kind of sad.
I think Mason Graham would be a great fit for the Niners. In the wide 9, he's big. I don't know how good of a pass rusher he'd be, but he could collapse the pocket and defend the run. I think he'd be a great fit.
Great fit, but he's too old. Are you talking about Mason Graham from this draft?
From Michigan.
I thought you
were talking about Walter Nolan. Either of those two guys would be great fits.
Other than that, from the Eagles. I thought you were talking about the Graham on the Eagles right now.
No.
Yeah, Brandon Graham. That's what. Yeah, I was like, that guy's a little bit old. A little bit old. But
Josh Wyatt says Niners need the next Vita Vea. Anything short of that, and they don't understand the nature of their problem. Unfortunately, Vita Vea is like a one-on-one generational player.
We're not getting a guy like Vita.
You don't find 350-pound dudes who move like that ever.
No. If we got Vita Vea, oh my God, that would be insane. I would love Vita Vea. Great player.
Okay, so Deebo Samuel wants out. And I think around here, people are like, good, like, oh, you want to get traded, huh? Like, what's the market? I mean, we just saw you at the freaking Super Bowl. You don't look like you're in exactly great shape. And you have a podcast. Deebo, you didn't see this?
Great shape.
Phenomenal.
God, he was a wide receiver. You know what? He fits the name, wide receiver.
Yeah, emphasis on wide. So he's a wide receiver with a podcast, and he talks about, I mean, it seems like the kind of player most teams wouldn't want.
Deebo, like, Grant, I remember the first phone-in call, whatever, with you. I remember this, and you were like, what's on your mind, Mosh? And I was like, Deebo Samuel. This guy has did you see that close story friends thing that he posted about the Broncos on Instagram?
Yes.
And then did you see he's on his podcast with that girl, and the girl asks him, what team would you want to be on? And he's like, man, the Broncos got some dogs. Well, guess what, Deebo? You're not a dog. You're a puppy, so they don't need you. Like, no, I don't know what team would want Deebo Samuel. Whatever team takes Deebo Samuel, thank you. Thank you so much. Because the guy, like,
let's do this, because that was my first reaction, and that's maybe the correct
reaction.
Gets
me annoyed. It gets me worked up. That's all.
It's like, who wants this guy for any number of reasons? But like, hold on. What if you look at it a different way?
Okay.
Let's pretend we're like John Harbaugh or someone like a really strong coach, Mike Tomlin, John Harbaugh, one of those two. You're looking at the Niners and you're like, man, Deebo's really acting out over there. He doesn't respect that coach at all. He doesn't respect Kyle at all. Kyle wants to be his friend. Deebo doesn't respect him. Deebo walks all over him. Deebo doesn't stay in the best shape. There's no one in that locker room to check him. You bring him over here. You put him on the Ravens on a team with Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson. We wouldn't put up with that shit. He would lose the weight. He would actually play his best because we would challenge him. We would hold him accountable, and he would like it. It would bring out the best in him. It's a failure as an organization that they can't get Deebo Samuel motivated, or it's just Deebo at this point. He's 29 and he doesn't want to be a football player anymore.
It's Deebo, and
it's Deebo.
How is he supposed to lose weight? He's so busy with his podcast. He can't lose the weight. He's so busy.
It's important. Yeah, it's a really good podcast too.
Like, listen, with Deebo, the thing I don't understand is I've been telling this to my friends as well. Let's say if Deebo had an 1,000-yard season this year, 1.2. Let's say he had that, right? Great job, Deebo. He requests a trade. Okay, Deebo, fine. You were a dog this year. You can kind of do whatever you want. I don't really care. But you had 650 yards this year, and you're acting like you had 1,000+ yards. Deebo, your max. Grant, what do you think? Let's say we trade Deebo. What are we getting for Deebo in return? Genuinely.
I love the question. Okay, here this is my best answer. The Niners trade Deebo Samuel,
okay,
and a 5th-round pick for a 4th-round pick.
I'll take it.
Deebo Samuel and a 6th-round pick for a 5th-round pick. Like something like Deebo in a pick swap. And they're like, oh, we got a 4th. But we also gave up a 5th. We got a 4th. That's what they're going to do.
I just feel like...
I just wonder, is there a smart team out there that's like, you know what? He's 29. He doesn't respect Leonard Hankerson. He doesn't respect Kyle. You bring him into this team with this culture. And what teams have a culture like that that's that freaking strong? I don't know.
You know what we should do, Grant? You know what
Philly?
We should do as 49ers fans? We should kind of pump his value and kind of make him seem like he was really good this season, but he just had one down year. And then we can get like a 2nd rounder. Think about it, Grant.
The Eagles, if I were the Eagles, I would want to trade for Deebo just to troll the Niners. Like, yeah, we'll take him. We'll take him. Because then they do that. They have Danny Gray. They have Cam Latu. They have Ty Davis Price. And I have one more guy. Like, yeah, we'll take him. You don't know what you're doing.
From us.
Yeah, we'll get him in shape. You don't know what the hell you're doing. We'll bring him. Yeah. We'll give you.
Latu's on
the Eagles. They have Latu, I think, on their practice squad.
I thought he was on the Browns.
No, they cut him.
Oh, geez,
they cut him.
He's great tight end.
I would do that just to troll the Niners if I were the Eagles. Get Deebo for a freaking double Whopper with cheese, and then get him in shape.
Listen, Grant, you know what I really want to do?
What?
I want to send Deebo to a team that's just going to suck next year. I want to send him to the Jags. Send him to the Jags. Send him to Cleveland. Yes, send him to Cleveland. I'm sure him and Deshaun, great duo. Wow, what a duo that would be. Send him to a bad team. He doesn't deserve to go to a good team. You have one bad. Listen, we had. I get it. We had a little bit of a downfall this year. Well, no, not a little bit. It was a downfall. But now you request another trade. Like, who do you think you are? Like the thing I don't understand, right, is who does Deebo think he is? Like he thinks
and Deebo wants to make the Niners look bad, right? Like he's gonna go to the Commanders and have this career renaissance and prove that the Niners were incompetent and it was all their fault. And the Niners are gonna aid and abet this, right? They're gonna assist this and make themselves look stupid and incompetent for him. Like, no. We're gonna trade you to a place where we make sure that you fail and we win the trade.
Exactly. Like I don't know why Deebo like. That's the main thing I want. I want to send him off to a place where he just gets even more mad on his podcast and doing all that. Like the guy's got to
talk about the podcast for a second. I think athletes with podcasts is cool, man, but you need to legitly be like a perennial All-Pro, future Hall of Famer.
Fred Warner,
because no one wants to hear the podcast of the dude who had one good year and then basically underperformed every year after that. Like, what do you have to say?
Exactly. Like listen, Fred Warner has a podcast. Valid.
Future Hall of Famer.
Future Hall of Famer. Minka?
He's young, but he's a perennial All-Pro.
Micah's a better player
than Parsons.
Deebo.
I'm sorry, Micah Parsons. I mean, he's a perennial All-Pro.
Amon-Ra, better receiver than Deebo.
Kind of a perennial All-Pro.
Deebo, All-Pro, Hall of Famer.
4 years ago. What are we asking you about? Hey, remember that one game in 2021? Remember that one playoff game in 4 years ago?
Oh, Grant, I remember that. Wow. I remember like it was.
Can we talk about that one time that you went crazy against the Rams and Jalen Ramsey 4 years ago?
Talk about the one time when he went crazy against the Lions. Huh, wow, Grant. You know what? You deserve a podcast now. Like, it's just, you had one good year, man. You had one good year.
To me, any team that brings in Deebo needs to say, like, the podcast needs to have a little hiatus, man. You need to get back to 1,000 yards before you have a podcast. No podcast without 1,000 yards. No podcast without 10 touchdowns, man. Sorry.
Or listen,
the podcast is waiting for you once you're good at football again. It'll be better.
You have a good game, you can go film your podcast. If you have a bad game, no podcast for you.
And here's the thing about his podcast, too. I want to talk about Deebo's podcast. It sucks. And I'm going to say why it sucks. It could be so good. Draymond Green has a great podcast. He would play a game. He would go record the podcast after the game and be candid about why they won, why they lost, how he played, what he did. He would actually talk about punching Jordan Poole in the face. Now, he was probably self-serving about it and defensive, but he at least talked about it. Deebo punches the long snapper and acts like it never happened. Like, okay, then we don't need to just cancel the podcast, man.
I also forgot about that as well, Grant. Like we're talking about Deebo and this is playing style, all that. He should have been cut when he did that to a long snapper. Yeah. What wide receiver does that, man? You are a captain. You have a C on your jersey. You're supposed to go over to Moody and say, you know what, Moody, hey, man, like, lock in, bro. Lock in. You go and punch the long. What are you doing?
Well, what is he doing? To me, when a guy does that, he's saying, I don't want to be on this team.
Yeah, and if you don't want to be on this team, what other team wants that? Hey, let's get a guy that punched the long snapper. Let's do it. Let's sign him.
If you're hitting one of your teammates during a game that you ultimately win, you don't want to be on this team. You're separating yourself. You're elevating yourself above this teammate. So you got to, if from now on, this is a new rule that the Niners need to adopt. If a player doesn't want to be on your team, let him go.
And Deebo requesting this trade is kind of nice because I think Shanahan and Lynch would have kept him for another year.
Yes.
Why?
It's the second time he's now requested a trade, man. They should have traded him the first time he requested a trade.
Grant, you punch a teammate, honestly, you should have been cut. Like, I don't care how good you are. I don't care. You get off this team because you're not a team player. You don't punch it. Listen, if it was during a practice, still bad, but whatever. It's on national television. A lot of people are watching that game. It's CMC's return, and you punch what are you doing? Like that.
And what's crazy is like they were still in it. Then they were still in it. Like Pearsall has a good game that day in Tampa. Remember? He scores a touchdown. He helps them come back and get it in position to win the game in that final drive. Yep. But Deebo flips out. And so they bury Pearsall for the rest of the season.
Yep.
To try to get Deebo back in. And then they finally get eliminated. And they finally shut Deebo down. In the last 2 games, they start calling plays for Pearsall, and he goes for 210 in 2 games. So I wonder if they had just cut Deebo like we say, like you said, they should have, and started calling plays for Pearsall, then maybe they make the playoffs.
And Grant, people keep saying, "Oh, the Niners, they need a replacement for Deebo."
They drafted one last year. They literally did that last year.
And Grant,
what are we talking about?
No, and you know the one thing too is 2019 Deebo. In the past, Deebo, you couldn't replace a guy like that. Deebo, you can't find a guy like that. You can't find him. This Deebo, bro, you can replace him like this. Like this.
What is his skill set? He's a kick returner.
Yes. He's
not a good running back.
No, not anymore. He was actually.
You can find another guy who can average 3.2 yards per carry easily. And then as a wide receiver, you can find another guy who can't beat man coverage.
Patrick Taylor.
Yeah.
This is why I don't understand. Deebo, it's just, I don't know what's going on in his head. It's like he thinks he's something that he's not. And I think one thing you said, I think Deebo wants to make everything about himself. It's the Super Bowl, and Ian Rappaport or Adam Schefter releases that tweet, Deebo requested trade, and then Deebo quote tweets the tweet with praying hand emojis. Like, what are you
know when it was over? When Terrell Owens, the biggest diva of all time, noticed that Deebo was more concerned with his pregame fit than his actual performance. When T.O. said that with his son on the team.
No, but Grant, it's true though. Deebo does have great pregame fits. Maybe that's why we pay him that much.
Are they great?
They're not bad. The visors are pretty cool, and the cleats. I like them.
Didn't he come one time with like leather shorts?
Yeah, he did.
And a leather vest?
Hey, but it's great. It's sick. I love that outfit. He's the best.
Okay. All right. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe I'll be wearing leather shorts, and who knows?
Grant, you
I don't have money like that.
Grant, first game next year, leather shorts.
Ooh, okay. It just hold on, that's not right. It just feels like that would be hot. But anyway, let's do some sleeper picks. We got the Warriors are suddenly interesting again. I like basketball when the Warriors are interesting, and now they have Jimmy Butler.
Who I'm a Raptors guy, Grant. You know I'm Canadian, so I like the Raptors. But
you like the Raptors?
Yeah, we kind
of okay. That's cool. I like Jimmy Butler now. I'm a big Jimmy Butler fan, and I have been for a week. He put up 20 points last game. What do you think? 20.5 against Dallas, the biggest joke in the league.
Is it just over or under? Give me the over.
If that's over on 20.5.
100%.
Okay. All right, Curry.
Anthony Davis is injured. That guy feels.
I know. Boy, that happened immediately.
Oh yeah. I mean, he dropped like 25 points, 15 rebounds. Then he got
in one half.
He got injured from running. Wow. What a player. Oof. I don't know. They could have done any. Oh, I don't even want to talk. That trade. Oh God. What a trade that was.
Steph Curry, 27.5 points. He's gone over 30 in 4 games in a row. It seems like playing with Jimmy Butler is helping.
Yes, so over 100%. And I like how people thought this Jimmy Butler trade was like not good. I was like, it's Jimmy freaking Butler. He's pretty good at basketball.
It's like good. Andrew Wiggins is a nice third option.
And he's Canadian. Andrew Wiggins is Canadian.
He is. He plays good defense. He's a good shooter. He's just like the least assertive player ever. And he can be great. Like in that one finals, he locked up Jason Tatum. He averaged like 10 boards a game. He's like, who are you? But he does it once every 7 years. Whereas Jimmy Butler's a dog every night.
People compare Jimmy Butler to Andrew Wiggins. I'm like, man, you can't do that. Jimmy Butler literally carried a team to the finals. Like, you can't do that.
Okay, assists for Draymond Green, 5.5.
Okay, you know what? I have a feeling he's gonna. I'm going all overs. I think he's gonna be dotting up Jimmy tonight. It's gonna be dotting
up Jimmy. I feel like he had more assists in the past when it was like he was the point guard and you had Clay and Steph. But now, Jimmy's not really that. But anyway. Buddy Hield, who sucks so much. Threes.
Man, he had such a good start of the year, too. I was actually excited for the Warriors. I was like, man, like, Buddy, I love Buddy. He's a 3-point demon, but yeah. He's
3.5 threes. 3.5.
Give me the under. Sorry.
Under. Sorry, buddy. Oh, hold on. Quinn Post is another dude. He's like this rookie who plays center for them.
Popping off.
Who's just hella good at shooting threes.
Yes. I've been seeing that. Someone's like, the Warriors needed a center, but now we got this Post dude. Sick last name, by the way.
Is he?
Sick last name, by the way.
He looks pretty good. I just think it's too bad that they don't have Klay Thompson anymore.
Yeah.
You really replace Klay Thompson with Buddy Hield? Like, that's not right.
No,
it's like taking Lil Wayne out of the Hot Boys and replacing him with
Grant, that feels wrong. That feels like, I don't know. Buddy Hield.
You can't just take
kind of hurts
Paul
my
McCartney
heart,
off the Beatles and replace him with freaking Phil Collins.
No. It hurts my heart.
All right, I'm locking that one in. I can't submit the entry yet. 2 teams. Oh, let's get back into it then. I got to get another team, and they won't let me pick from the Mavericks, so we're gonna have to go. Lakers.
Lakers. Give me Luka over. That's all I'm gonna say.
Where are the Lakers picks? Yeah, that's whack. It's wiggity. We get all the players then. Hold on. Anthony Edwards, Wembanyama, Lillard, Jokic. Let's do Jokic. Jokic against.
He is stupid.
Portland.
Did you see that shot? Grant, did you
couldn't name one player on Portland.
Grant, did you see that shot that he shot behind the backboard?
Yeah, I did.
Go look at that.
I will.
Jokic is like stupid. That's a stupid player. He's stupid.
Okay, 28.5 points, more or less.
Over. This guy's he's Timothy. Just give me the over.
They list him at 284. Damn.
He's huge, but he's so good. Bro, Grant, he goes like this. He chucks the ball from behind his head and it goes in. Like, it's stupid. It's so Jokic is so stupid, but he's so good. He's so good.
Do you think he could play left tackle for the 49ers?
Yes. I knew you were going to ask that. Yes, he probably could.
Well, look, if you guys want to play, download the Sleeper app, use promo code CONE and get entered to win a signed George Kittle jersey. Hold on, I'm going to show you. I'm going to give this away next week. So make sure you enter to win it nowish. There, it's signed. Boom. Okay. So let's talk about we're going to get to the draft next, but I want to talk about Brock. This negotiation is interesting. He says he wants to get it done fast. Niners say they want to get it done fast. It's February 12th. They haven't gotten it done yet. With Jimmy, they got it done, I want to say February 8th, 2018. So this has already taken 4 days longer in this cycle. Jimmy was going to be an unrestricted free agent, so there was more of a deadline.
Yep.
This guy is still under contract, and Aaron Rodgers is going to be a free agent. And the Niners, I'm sure, are going to or already have made an offer. But it's not going to be what Brock wants. And Brock can either accept it or wait, like the other players in the Niners have done. And if he waits, the Niners can use Aaron Rodgers as sort of like a scare tactic. Like, buddy, we'll get him. Do you think the presence of Aaron Rodgers will get Brock to fold and sign this contract quick?
Hell no. No. Aaron Rodgers 6 years ago? 100%. Oh my gosh, yes. Aaron Rodgers right now? No. The guy had a worse Zach Wilson was better on the Jets than Aaron Rodgers.
Okay, let's role play it real quick before you dismiss it. Let me here's how it goes. Brock comes in expecting $61 million a year. That's what Lombardi said he's worth, right? Yeah. Niners say, man, we love you so much. We love you. So you are our guy forever. And to show you how committed we are, here is a 5-year contract worth $48 million a year. And Brock goes, what are you talking about? And the Niners say, this is so generous. This is more than we thought we were going to give you. And
that is generous.
Says, this is just unacceptable, man. I mean, you got Dak making 60. This is unacceptable. And well, the Niners go, well, we didn't want to have to say this. We didn't think you'd be so greedy. But if you want 60, I mean, we could get Rodgers for 40. We'd rather have you. We would rather have you, Brock. But if you want a 61, we can get Rodgers for 39. Don't put us in that position, Brock. The locker room would like Aaron Rodgers, but he's a Hall of Famer, Brock. You're not. We just role played.
I understand, Grant, that he's a Hall of Famer, but right now, is he playing like a Hall of Fame quarterback?
No.
Can
he move? No, but he'll be a year further removed from Achilles surgery. He might be a little bit more mobile this year, a little bit.
The thing I would agree with you on is if he came to this team, he has better weapons. It's just let's say if we fix the
and what if he comes with Devontae Adams? What if he brings Devontae Adams with him?
Oh shit! Okay,
they're a package deal. They're a package deal.
Then
you see what I'm saying?
Wait a minute.
And again, I'm sure the Niners would prefer to have the 24-year-old quarterback who they have for a long time. Maybe he's 25 now. But if he holds out and he says, "Nah, man, I need 60," that's what David said I'm worth, and I believe David. I trust David.
You know what? Then why not? Like, listen, even just to scare Brock, just put it in Brock's head. Like, well, hey, if you don't want to sign this contract, we'll easily go out and get Aaron Rodgers,
and you can still be here, and you guys can compete for the job, and you might beat him out.
one thing I was actually going to say, the one thing I would love if Aaron Rodgers would be willing to be a backup. If he was willing to be a backup, hey, I would take it, Grant. I would do it. I mean, hey,
Yeah, sure.
Aaron Rodgers teaching Brock Purdy and we get Devontae Adams. That sounds great, but I don't know.
All I
I
ask
don't know
for is if they get Rodgers and Adams and keep Brock, hard knocks. Hard knocks.
I mean, those two in a package deal, how do you say no?
Because if you don't get them, maybe those two go to the Rams.
Like, I do think the Jets aren't great. Aaron Rodgers was like, what, 8th in passing yards this year? So it's not bad, but it's like
his numbers were better than Brock's.
And he's on a better team.
I'm just saying, like, he threw 28 touchdown passes last year. Brock threw 20. Now, I mean, he can't move.
No, but
he's
so old.
And he's a weirdo.
He's so
still,
old,
dude. It's Aaron Rodgers.
I know it, but that's why I think that's why I think some Niners fans want him, because it's Aaron Rodgers. But how old? 42.
The Niners, they need some leverage here, and they can't say like, man, if you don't sign this contract now, like we want you to, we'll go get Sam Darnold. Like, Brock could laugh in their face.
But do you think the Niners are the type of team to do that? Like, hey, Brock, if you don't sign right now, then we're gonna go get Aaron Rodgers. I don't think the Niners are like that. I think the Niners
in these negotiations privately, I think there's a lot of things that are said that we don't understand. I think it's no holds barred in these negotiations. Kittle's alluded to a little bit, like it's ruthless.
Yeah.
And if they say you're worth 45 and here are the reasons why, it's going to be Parag sitting there being like, we ran the numbers and you're not that good. And if you think you're worth more, we got a Hall of Famer over here that we can compare you to who is willing to play for less than what you want. That's just the game. That's the negotiation.
Grant, and imagine Rodgers still has a cannon of an arm. Imagine like, oh my God. Okay, this is actually getting me thinking a little bit here, because if like I do think we have to be hard on.
Where is Rodgers from? Northern California. Where's Adams from? The Bay Area. I could see them wanting to come. I could see them wanting to be here. Now, do the Niners want them? I don't know. It's not maybe it's not their first choice.
Do you think Devontae would want to play with Rodgers again? Since
yes, they seem like they're beyond best friends.
And we have CMC in the backfield. Like, this is just a way. You got IU coming back. Like, and if we revamp that O-line, like, I think if we were to get Rodgers, we would have to revamp the O-line. But Grant, the one thing you said is you want a mobile quarterback, and Aaron Rodgers is nothing close to mobile.
He's not a mobile quarterback. He's a terrible leader. He seems like a borderline bad person.
He does.
So maybe might be more of like a negotiating tactic than an actual option. Like,
that's what I'm
thinking. We'll get him. It's like, no, you won't. No. You don't really want him. No one really wants Aaron Rodgers. That's desperation.
But like I said, I'll take him as a backup. Do I think he'd be a backup? Hell no. No. There's no.
But what sucks is if he ends up on the Rams with Devontae Adams and Puka Nacua. That's not fun. Or the Vikings.
But he's so old. Like, you think he's
That's
gonna
true.
Like, I think next year he would.
Will he play 17 games behind the Niners offensive line? No.
After the draft, we'll see. Maybe our O-line's better. You never know. Maybe Shanahan and Lynch, they actually work on the trenches. You never know.
Well, we're talking about that next. Alejandro Buenrostro says, why not trade our other picks for a higher one?
What a last name.
Or why not trade down? Okay, here's what I want to say. We could talk about trading up too, but first let's talk about potentially trading down. The Niners are in an interesting spot, 11. This is where they drafted Patrick Willis. This is where you can get a Hall of Fame player. And if you draft for need at 11, you can really mess up. That's what they did in 2018 when they took McGlinchey. They needed a right tackle. They got one. He fit his skin. They missed on Minka and Derwin and others. So
Grant, are you dissing McGlinchey? He's great. He's awesome.
He's so good.
God, I wish we could have him back.
I know. So look, if they stay at 11, they could be in a position where you just got to take the best player available. And look, if it's Mason Graham or Walter Nolan, fills a need. Bingo. But the Niners really need an offensive lineman. And you can't keep putting it off. There's always a reason not to draft an offensive lineman. Well, they take a couple of years to develop. All the more reason to do it now. I mean, that's why it's so bad that you haven't been doing it the last few years. So you can't just say, well, best player available is an offensive lineman. We'll wait till next year. or you trade down. Here's what I want to say. If you take a guard at 11, that's a problem. If you take a guard at 16 or 17, that's not a problem. If he's an all-pro. So why not trade down 5 spots, 6 spots? You could get another third-round pick or something. Take a guard or a right tackle, someone that you're not sure, but someone who could go either way, but you feel like if he's a guard, he's an all-pro. I just feel like I don't know, maybe you don't like it, but yeah, man, get the defensive line, that's great, but I think the offensive line's more important, and you can't put it off forever.
I just think trading up in this year's draft for an offensive lineman is kind of crazy because
trading down.
Trading down, I mean, yeah, trading down. That's what I meant. Trading down. I think trading down, like, do you mean like going backwards or going oh yeah, you mean going
down.
Backwards.
So I'm like from 11 to 16 to 17.
Okay. I agree with that, but because first of all, I don't think Will Campbell or Kelvin Banks will fall that far.
Fair.
No, there's no.
You could get Armand Membu.
You could, or you can get Simmons, but that ACL injury, we talked about that before.
Patellar tendon. No, I don't want that.
But I have a question for you. Let's say the Niners are at pick 11, okay? And Deebo wants out, and McMillan is there at 11. What are you doing? Because listen, I'm the type of guy, Grant, and the Eagles do this every year. They pick the best player available when they have to pick. And that's why they're so good. And I'm not saying pick a wide receiver. I'm not saying that, but pick the best player available at 11. If there's not really the best player available, okay, then trade back then. But would you pick McMillan if Deebo left and we couldn't get anyone in free agency? Would you pick McMillan?
I wouldn't.
You wouldn't.
And no. And here's why I keep coming back to the offensive line. Like,
let's say Genty though. If Genty's there,
what weapons are great. Well, you gotta love weapons. D linemen are great, but I gotta keep coming back to the offensive line. It's not a sexy position. But look, hold on. If you don't like your quarterback, if you're not really invested in the position, you got Jimmy G, you got a rookie. You don't have to invest in your offensive line.
No.
Well, because you're not investing in your quarterback. If he gets hurt, the backup might be the same. And if you invest in the offensive line and give the guy a bunch of time, who's to say he's going to be any good? You still might have to win with running the ball and defense. But if you invest in your quarterback, you give him $55 million a year and say, you're our franchise guy.
Okay.
You have to also invest in the offensive line, because if you don't, and you have all that money tied up in that position and he gets hurt, you are FUCKED majorly. And Brock got hurt twice this year. You need him on the field if you're paying him 17% of your cap. Need him on the field.
I agree with you. I didn't know we signed Purdy already. So let's say we signed Purdy to our deal.
Okay.
And like if Purdy's making that 55 mil, 1,000%. You pick at pick 11. If Will Campbell or Kelvin Banks is there, you pick either one of those guys. You pick them. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. Those two are gone. Maybe you trade down to 16 for Walter Nolan. But I do think Walter Nolan will go top like 15. I think, or I wouldn't be surprised if he's actually no, he wouldn't go top 10. But I do like
Even Grant look like top 10 picks. But I don't know if there's two teams in the top 10 that are going to take D tackle, but they both look like top 10 picks.
That's true. But let's say
to me, I don't know.
Grant,
they both look like year one starters, like right away. Day one, year one starters to me. That's top 10. I don't know.
You think Will Campbell and Kelvin Banks are day one starters?
I was saying Nolan and Graham, but Banks and Campbell, yes. The only question is it at guard or tackle? I think Banks would be an all-pro guard.
Do you think
could he play right tackle as well? Probably. But even if he can't, if you get Banks at 16 and he's an all-pro left guard, like, great. Because here's another thing I want to say. If you got to go through the Eagles, right?
Yeah.
Their best player on the defensive line is Jalen Carter. And that means you have to have two special guards, because if one of your guards sucks, guess where Jalen Carter's lining up? On 3rd and 4.
On the sucky guard. Yeah.
Yeah, he's going at Spencer Burford all day. So it's not enough just to say we got Dominic Pooney, we're good. Like, nah. If you can get an all-pro guard in the top 20, there's no rule against it. I mean, there are Hall of Fame guards who are taken in the top 20. 16, 17, 18, that's a perfectly fine place to take them. And then if they can play right tackle, even better. But you might even argue that having a great guard would be more valuable, because that interior pressure just ruined the Chiefs, and it would ruin Brock.
And I agree with that with you. I think trading down though is stupid. If Kelvin Banks and Will Campbell are there, you pick them. No
Sure.
brainer. Shanahan and Lynch, no brainer. You pick him. Okay. But if they're not there, trade down. Like, trade down. Why not? Well, like, why not? Walter Nolan will be there at 16, 17, hopefully. Then you pick Walter Nolan. This year this year's draft, Grant, like you said, the word sexy. It's not going to be a sexy draft. We're not going to get the McMillans, the Genties. We're not going to get that. This draft is going to look on paper kind of ugly. Well, not ugly player wise. Like, the players are going to be good, but positionally, it's not a sexy draft. We got to draft offensive line, defensive line. Like, that's our main thing though. Offensive line, our main thing.
To me, I mean, like they're really talking themselves into paying Brock all this money because, like, well, Trevor Lawrence got it, and Tua got it, and Jordan Love, and Dak,
And if you pay your quarterback that much money, if you pay your quarterback that much money, you need to protect your quarterback.
That's what I'm saying. So, like, let's look at the market, right? If that's the market, so all these quarterbacks that get paid all this money, the only one who wins is Hurts, and he's the only one who has a great offensive line.
Yes,
only one. And if he didn't have a great offensive line, he wouldn't be special. I'm sorry.
And I think too, you can kind of compare Hurts and Purdy. And I'm not saying for the chat, I'm not saying Purdy's better than Hurts because Hurts just won a freaking Super Bowl. But at a point, you can kind of see they're kind of the same. They're kind of on the same teams, basically. Hurts has insane weapons. Purdy, when he went to the Super Bowl, had insane weapons. But out of those two teams, who had the better offensive line?
It's not even close. Not even close.
No, if that was the debate, then Eagles would win in 0.0 seconds. Like, it would be done. It would be like they would literally win in a second. I do think though, if we sign Purdy to that big of a contract, our main thing is to keep him protected. Because I think if Purdy, like, this might be a crazy take for me, Grant. You put Purdy on that Eagles team, they win the Super Bowl.
Dude, well, yeah, I think so too. I think they would have won that game with Kenny Pickett. I mean, their defense was just incredible. But real quick, like, I'm just looking at their offensive line. Jordan Mailata, drafted and developed. Landon Dickerson, drafted and developed. Cam Jurgens, drafted and developed. Mekhi Becton, they got off like waivers. Lane Johnson, drafted and developed.
And Jurgensen, this is his first year. This was Jurgensen's first year at center, and he's in.
Tyler Steen, drafted and developed. I mean, they don't mess around. Like, yeah, they have a great D line too, but there were years where they like signed Javon Hargrave and signed Hassan Reddick. Like, they prioritize the offensive line in the draft. They take a guy in the first 3 rounds almost every year. They're not messing around. So when a guy goes down, they have they have a 3rd round pick that's backup left guard. Yup, they're not messing around. I don't know. You can always find a reason not to take an offensive lineman, but the Niners been doing that for the last 4 years, and it's not working.
If you want to win and you want to pay Purdy that much money, you got to invest into your offensive line. Because if you pay Purdy that much money, we have this same crappy offensive line. Oh my gosh, we will.
If you could have a killer D line, but if your $55 million a year quarterback is on IR, you're still fucked.
100%.
You're not too much money on IR. You're fucked.
Yep. F you.
Sorry, your D line's great, but it can't protect your number one investment in your organization.
Exactly.
Speaking of number one investments of organizations, the Raiders are rumored. This is according to Adam Schefter. The Raiders want Sam Darnold, and I think they might want him more than the Vikings do. What do you think of Chip Kelly and Pete Carroll identifying Darnold as their guy?
Are we shocked about this?
I think it makes sense. I mean, Darnold's a USC guy. Carroll's a USC guy. Carroll must know Darnold very well, and probably for a long time. And Chip Kelly's a Pac-12 guy too, or for a long time.
I understand this, but it's like, if I was a Raiders fan, would I want Darnold? No. Listen,
he's better than Aiden O'Connell.
Oh, 1,000%. But if I was a Raiders fan, I feel like the Raiders always get the second scraps of a quarterback. Like, Darnold he had a great year, but you saw what he did in the playoffs, and Darnold. He can Darnold.
To be fair, the Raiders are a long ways off from worrying about a playoff collapse. They just got to get there.
They are, but I'm saying, for me, if I was a Raiders fan, I would want the Raiders to draft a quarterback, draft a guy, draft Jackson Dart, draft Quinn Ewers. Why not? Like, I feel like they always go after these Sam Darnolds, these Garner, like these. I'm not comparing Gardner Minshew and Sam Darnold, but they always go after this kind of this, like, not the same quarterback, but I don't know. I feel Darnold, though, if he went to the Raiders, they'd be a better team. 1,000% they would. But it's just Darnold can Darnold, and I have a feeling, would Darnold be their franchise guy? No.
Well, to me, he's similar to Geno because, like, I kind of think of Geno in the same
Yes.
way, and like that
Yes.
was Pete Carroll's original reclamation project. I could see Pete Carroll looking at Darnold, being like, "Got a lot of Geno in you. I had a lot of success, some success with Geno." But what's so interesting to me is that Chip Kelly would see Darnold as a scheme fit. Because when I think of Chip Kelly, I always think like Marcus Mariota, or going back like Dennis Dixon, Darren Thomas, like a real dual threat quarterback. But you forget he went to Philly. He got rid of Michael Vick so fast, and he wanted Nick Foles, who's slower than freaking Darnold. So, and then this year at Ohio State, they win the national championship with Will Howard, who's not fast at all. So it'd be interesting to think of like Darnold in not the Shanahan system, but in like a spread college style quick RPO system. Maybe that makes him better. Like he has less decisions to make, less field to read.
The thing too, I kind of think maybe the Raiders are kind of trying to do like a Vikings kind of tactic. Raiders bring in Darnold, then they draft a great wide receiver in McMillan, and then, Darnold will have a top 3 tight end. Maybe you can say he's the best tight end. A great wide receiver in McMillan. Maybe they do that. I don't know. I just feel like if I was a Raiders fan, I'd want to draft a quarterback, man. I don't want to draft a quarterback. I like the Raiders. When's the last time the Raiders have drafted a quarterback? Like they drafted Aiden O'Connell, but
it's not supposed to be the greatest year to draft a quarterback. I do like Cam Ward a lot, but what I think is interesting about the Raiders is like they've been so directionless for so long, especially since Al died. Because he kind of lost it the last 20 years of his life, but at least he was a coach and had a vision for football. Mark doesn't even have that. But now that Tom Brady's in the organization, I feel like, well, I don't know that he's a great personnel guy, but at least he has convictions and ideas, and they're like being aggressive. So you got Pete Carroll, you got Chip Kelly. Okay, Sam Darnold. This is all Tom Brady.
And maybe I'm being too hard on Darnold. Like this was kind of his first year where he balled. And it's his first playoff. That was his first ever playoff game.
He's like 27.
And maybe I'm being too hard on Darnold. So you know what? I like this move. Maybe I'm being too hard on Darnold. Maybe I'm being too hard. Listen.
See, to me, if I were Chip Kelly, I'd rather go get Justin Fields. I'd be more interested in someone who's a little bit younger, a little bit more mobile. Darnold, we saw he had his best year, and he still freaking blew it in the playoffs. Like maybe Fields,
but Grant, you got to realize that was his first ever playoff appearance.
True.
And that's what I'm saying. If let's say Darnold stayed on the Vikings again and they had the same year and then choked in the playoffs again, maybe get rid of him. But I don't know. I kind of like this. I at the start of this conversation, I didn't really like this move, but now it's kind of like, you know what? Sure, why not? Go ahead and try it. Like if Darnold plays half of what he did last year, you guys will be better. But
I feel like now I'm talking in circles though, because like I just said, well, if you're going to give Brock Purdy all that money, then you got to have a good offensive line. Okay. Yeah. Well, if the Raiders are going to go give Sam Darnold all that money, like $45 million a year, where's your offensive line? Like,
they have no offensive line either.
What are you doing? So I don't know.
It's kind of in the same boat, but I don't know.
The Raiders suck. So what are their options? Suck or suck a different way?
Who would you rather want, Purdy or Darnold? If Darnold could come on this team right now, or you got Purdy, who would you want? I think I know who you're going to say, but just say it. You're not even really thinking, Grant. Just say it. Come on, Grant.
Would I rather have Darnold for 40 or Purdy for 60?
No. Yeah, sure. We'll do that.
I think I'd rather have Darnold for 40. I don't want Purdy for 60. That just seems like a terrible idea.
Man, that's too much money.
I still think Purdy's better than Darnold. Darnold has no pocket presence.
No, the guy literally
none.
He just stands there and then there's a guy in front of me. Like he
moves into pressure. He's great arm, big dude. I think he might be a good fit in an RPO system, but I still think Purdy's better than him. Purdy has real good like spatial awareness and quickness and the ability to like make the first guy miss, which is a great asset in today's NFL that Sam Darnold just doesn't have.
And talking about Sam Darnold and drafting quarterbacks, would you and you mentioned Justin Fields, would you want the Niners to get Justin Fields?
Yes, if their coach wasn't Kyle Shanahan, because I don't think Justin Fields and Kyle Shanahan are a good mix. I mean, just like Trey Lance and Kyle Shanahan wasn't a good mix, and Robert Griffin and Kyle Shanahan weren't a good mix. But like, if you put Justin Fields on the Commanders or the Eagles or a team like that, like really knows how to use a quarterback's legs, I think it'd be really good. I mean, even last year on the Steelers, he was playing really well. He's playing like Jalen Hurts. He wasn't throwing for a lot of yards, but he was
No.
efficient and he was
Grant,
running well.
he was
He was
winning
4-2.
games. He was
I don't
winning
understand
games.
what they did, man.
No.
Russell Wilson gave him a little bit of a boost and then he fell apart. They should have
Yes.
stuck with Fields.
Yes. Fields is younger too. Like, give the guy a chance. Like, he was literally, you know what they should have done? They should have done, if Fields starts losing, you switch it out. But he wasn't even losing and they just switched it out. I don't know. I didn't like that move at all. That was weird. I didn't like that move at all.
Let's just compare his numbers to Jalen Hurts' numbers, okay? Jalen Hurts is a Super Bowl champion quarterback. Last year, he completed 68% of his throws. He had 18 touchdown passes, 5 picks. He threw for 193 yards a game. Okay?
Yeah.
193 yards a game. He's very efficient. Threw for 193 yards a game. Damn, dude. Fields threw for 110 a game. Damn. He completed 66% of his passes, threw 5 touchdowns and 1 pick. 1 pick.
And he ran,
and he's like a dog crap offense. You got George Pickens and nothing. Najee Harris is the slowest running back in football. Yeah, I mean,
Grant, you know how you said Deebo to the Steelers? Imagine Deebo and Pickens in the same locker room. Oh my god.
Oh
yeah, I don't. That's scary. That's bad.
I can't wait to see where Justin Fields goes. I feel like if the whole league just saw Jalen Hurts win the Super Bowl, no one thinks Jalen Hurts is elite. He's good, but no one thinks he's elite. Okay, well, there's a similar quarterback with maybe an even better skill set physically.
I would like to get Fields too, because let's say we need a run play from a quarterback. You bring in Fields for a play, he runs like you. I don't know. I think bringing in Fields would be good for the Niners.
I think the Niners should do it, and if they don't do it, teams that I think would be interesting with Justin Fields, the Seahawks.
Yes.
Can you imagine him on that turf? He'd be so fast.
Oh, he would. I think he's better.
Kenneth Walker would be way better. I mean, their offense would be way better if they had nothing against Geno, but I'd rather have Justin Fields.
Same. I would. I don't like Geno. Well, I think I don't like Geno because he's a Seahawk, but
he's fine. He has a nice arm. He's accurate. He doesn't run as much as I would like him to.
No,
he's getting older. He's okay, but I'd bring Justin Fields.
I would too. I wouldn't mind it. Why not? Why not? What else do we have to like? Why not? We like doesn't hurt.
Doesn't hurt.
No,
doesn't hurt. I wonder. I don't know. Sam Darnold to the Raiders. Aaron Rodgers. Best guess where he ends up. Pittsburgh.
You know what? I think it might be Pittsburgh because they're like a retirement home. I mean, they got Russell Wilson. I wouldn't be shocked if they get Rodgers, but it's just like
they had old ass Ben Roethlisberger forever.
I do think though, if they get Rodgers, they're the exact same team. I don't really think. I think Russell Wilson.
Yeah, they're another 10-17 that loses in the first round of the playoffs. Yes.
Okay, maybe worse than that. Okay, but Grant, to me, when the Steelers were like, what was the record before? Like 10-2. It was something stupid. I knew that they were a fake playoff team. They were a fake playoff team all along. I knew they were going to get smacked first round. I do think though, if Rodgers came there, they're the same or worse. I don't think
they were 10-3. Yeah, you're right. They were 10-3, and then they lost their last 5 games. Damn, that's what I'm saying.
But look at who they beat. They beat no good teams. I think maybe they beat a couple good teams, but I don't know. I think if Rodgers,
that's going to be the Niners next year. Have you seen the Niners schedule? Here's going to be the Niners are going to win like 11 games last year and still finish third in the NFC West because they face the AFC South and the NFC South, but so does everyone else in their division.
Grant, we have the easiest schedule in. I think it's either the NFL or the NFC.
I mean, on paper, there's all the hard games are in the division, but again, that's who the Rams face too. The Rams also get to face the AFC South and the NFC South. So the Rams could have like 15 wins and the Niners could have like 13 wins and they could all be mid.
The thing about the schedule too, Grant, I don't like how we're just playing all, crappy teams because I feel during the season you need to play against those top teams to see how good you are against top teams. And this next upcoming season, we don't really play a top team. So I don't know.
They play the Rams. That's true. They play the Rams. They play they play the Bears.
Oh,
well,
tough. No.
Caleb Williams, Ben Johnson.
You never know.
They play
like it's
the Falcons.
Ooh.
Hey, the 2024 49ers would have lost to the Falcons.
I think it would have been a close game.
It would have been a close game, yeah. And those weren't really, doesn't go the Niners' way last year.
No, I think either team sneaks it out, but in a close game for the Niners, we lose that game. Maybe we win it from a Jake Moody field goal.
Bucks, Saints. They'll be playing in New Orleans. I'm so glad. I love New Orleans. Wish I could have went this week. No,
why did you go?
I just didn't. I'm going to the combine though. That'll be fun.
That's sick.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Oh yeah. Hell yeah. Anytime you can go to Indianapolis in February, you got to do that, man.
Oh, 100%. 1,000%.
What's the weather like in Canada? Wherever the hell you live?
It's cold in my house right now. I think it was
Edmonton.
Yeah, this week it was. Well, yesterday it was -30. Yeah, it's cold. Very cold. Imagine. Look at you, Grant. You're living in.
It's like 45, and I hate it.
Yeah, it's very cold. Is it cold for you right now?
I can't stand it. It's been the coldest winter ever, and it kind of hovers in like the high 40s. And I'm like, well, not going outside today.
If I went to California, right, I'm wearing shorts and a shirt.
Mm-hmm.
If you came here, you're bundling up. Like Grant, yesterday I just wore a little jacket, like because I'm used to it. If you
so in a city with like -30 weather, are there squirrels?
Right now, no. There's bunnies. There's bunnies though.
There's bunnies.
Yeah, I don't know how they're doing it.
But like most life has figured out like this is not inhabitable. We have to leave.
No, the birds leave, I think.
There's birds. There's birds.
But they leave and then they come back.
They leave and come back. So even the birds realize you got to leave. But but the people stayed.
They go on vacation. Yeah, the birds
they go on vacation
and then they come back.
So that's the thing, man. If a little bird can figure out I can't be here, man, that's got to say something.
No, Grant, it's cold. It's bad. Like if you came here, if you think it's cold in California right now, yeah, you have not been.
I'm not built for it.
No,
I'm not built for it.
You're probably wearing shorts.
Buffalo was rough for me this year.
Yeah, Buffalo. Like what? Buffalo would be light. That'd be light. That would not be anything.
All right,
I'd be shirtless. I'd be shirtless in the Buffalo Stadium.
I don't want to picture that. I believe it though. Hold on, we got some super chats. I think. Okay, Jimmy Kwan says if you have a specific generational player, go for it. If not, trade down a little and replenish the roster with salary cap in mind. Too many contracts. Alejandro says at least trade up enough for a top 50 cornerback.
Would you want Will Johnson? Will Johnson. I think Will Johnson. Would you want?
Yeah, but it's like you can't take a corner at a. They need
Grant, but this guy
too many players in the trenches to take a corner.
But this guy, Grant, this guy's generational. So you're telling me you wouldn't take a generation? Let's say Grant at pick 11. There's a generational player. He's generational. You're not taking him. Let's say we'll
trading down.
Wow. Okay.
I'm trading down.
Okay. Because for me, I'm
fair enough. I mean, look, that's what they did in 2007. They took the generational linebacker Patrick Willis. It worked out. So I don't know. Maybe you're right, Maj. But we'll talk about it next week on the next episode of Maj Sports. Hold on. Dave Barclay says it's -16 right now at 11:06 a.m. effing cold.
That's something. Let me check how much.
-16?
It is -26 right now.
What do you do with that?
Go outside.
Okay, so you're driving and you need gas. What do you do?
Oh my God. Oh, it's when it was like -35 last week, like it was when you step outside, your eyelashes freeze up. I'm feeling gas. I'm literally shivering. I run back in the car and I just sit there and I wait. And it's done. I'm like, oh crap, I gotta go take it. I gotta go take the pump.
Leave your car on when you pump the gas.
No.
You can't, right? Not supposed to.
No.
So it's cold.
Grant, it's freezing. It's bad. It's bad.
Well, I feel for all of you. I'm praying for you. Get some warmth out there today. I'll be in Indianapolis soon. Thanks for watching, everyone. Maj, good stuff. We'll talk soon.
100%.
Let's go.